Good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning. It is just about 11:30, and I would normally have been live at 11, but I just got out of the most amazing healing. It completely changed what I was going to talk about this morning. If you don't know Sue Brader, I invite you to look her up and check her out and do yourselves a favor and get a healing with Sue. She's incredible. Um, and there's so much that came up from my healing that I'm still integrating. I'm not necessarily ready to. Obviously, it just happened, so I don't have those words yet. I remember. I remember a long time ago, I was reading something that Elizabeth Gilbert wrote, and she was very open, and she used to share her story very publicly on Facebook or whatever. And then something happened at one point where she wrote, "This is a story I'm living, not a story I'm telling." And I remember that when she said it, it was so profound. And I was like, oh, yeah. And that's how I feel right now. This is a story I'm living, not a story I'm telling yet. But I will be able to, once I can integrate, once I have the words, I'll be sharing it. But it brings up for me, I'm a healer. I'm a healer. This is what I do. I teach, I heal, I work with people all the time. Good morning, Suzanne. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. So I mean, I'm a healer, and I exchange healings with friends periodically if something's happening, when I'm in a crisis, whatever. But it's not often that I go to a healer. Whatever. It it's not that I don't value it. It's that there's only so I have. I do have so many resources, and so much of my focus in recent years has been on coaches and teachers who can help me in my business, that I forgot what it's like to have a healer hold you in their hands and feel so held and so supported that you can relax, that you can let go, that you can breathe. And this was a powerful healing. She was like, honey, I could have worked on you for 3 hours. And I was like, yeah, you could have. And I would have let you, and it would have been okay. And so, as we go through our day to day, as we go through life, and I know the value of it. I am a healer, so I do know the value. I know what it feels like when I have someone else's heart or energy in my hands. I know it. It's a sacred space. And I treat it so sacredly that it is such a profound experience to be able to be in someone's energy. It is humbling, and I am always grateful for it. And it is one of those truly magical moments. It every single time I come out of a healing, having done a healing, I'll say to friends, "Oh my God, I love this. I say to God, thank you for this gift." It's immeasurably humbling and sacred and special. So I understand the value of it. And like I said, life happens, whatever. It was so beautiful to be held in that way, and to recognize that as much healing as I've done, as much work as I do, as much progress as I've made, you can't do this alone. You can't do this alone. I needed her to hold a safe space for me so that I could start to release some trauma. And at one point she was like, I could see that you were releasing. And she's like, I was surprised you weren't crying. And I was like, me too. But internally, I really was crying because it was such a safe space. It was such a sacred place for me to relax. In fact, one of the mantras that came up as through the healing was, it's safe to relax, which was a belief I uncovered a few months ago that I didn't even know I had. And I did an amazing belief coding session with my friend Stephanie Stanton, who, again, if you haven't met Stephanie Stanton, you should introduce yourself to her. But her belief coding session was off the charts. It was fucking amazing. And I got to the core, or what I thought was the core of that belief. It's safe to relax. And we did some tremendous work, and it was so powerful. And then just a few weeks ago, I got to an even deeper level of it's safe to relax, or the feeling of it's not safe to relax. And so just now with Sue, we released that piece, right? And I feel so much freer, so much lighter, so much more present. Certainly than when I walked into her office. And when I walked into her office, I would have told you I was feeling pretty good. And I was. I think that we get so used to feeling our feelings, being in the intensity, feeling caught up in the day-to-day, that we don't even actually recognize that we have healing to do, that there is trauma, that there is stuff. And even if we're in a great space, like I said, I was in a really great space to walk into Sue's office today, and I'm even in an infinitely better space coming out of it now. And that's powerful. Because again, imagine what we can create from being in a great space. Imagine what's possible if we were healing not necessarily trauma, although we are, but if we were healing our, like, enhancing our already great spaces. And to do so with a healer who allows you to feel seen and held and safe. To do so with a healer that you know has done her work. It's exquisite to have that kind of gift that we can give ourselves. I say this all the time. You can't do this work alone. I say it all the time. And today I got to actually experience you can't do this work on your own. Sue took, and Sue's watching. Hey Sue, I'm singing your praises. She took me to a place that I couldn't go to on my own because I was safe and held and it was sacred. And so she took me to a place where I got to actually relax and let go of some trauma that I've been holding on to for nearly 50 years. Again, I'm still integrating. I don't know where this is going. I do know I now have a different baseline to start from. And that feels really powerful. The reason I'm bringing this up with you is if there's stuff up for you, and frankly, there's stuff up for everybody right now. There is stuff up. We are expected to heal it right now. It's an obligation. We don't have we always have a choice. We always have a choice. There's always choice. But we're being asked to heal our stuff right now. In a very real way, in a very big way, because the world needs us to. The world needs our light. And frankly, the heat is just going to get hotter. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, which I will, if anybody's interested, I can post it. Pam Gregory, who is a beautiful, brilliant, astrologer out of England, was talking about how she was talking about the equinox as we switch into Libra and right near full moon, and that the next 2 months, that October and November, were going to be some of the most intense months that we've had so far in 2022. And I remember going, eep, right? I was like, whoa. And then I remembered, okay, we have the tools and resources to handle this. I know we're going to survive it. And she just keeps saying, breathe from your heart, breathe into your heart, and really allow that in. And it was, I mean, she's such a beautiful woman. She's so articulate, right? And she really does put it into perspective about the planetary shifts and energetic things that are going on right now. And she gave me it was a lot of Sucor. It was a lot of easy to hear it. I was like, okay, I know this is coming. I can prepare for it. I have the tools and resources. So I say this because things are getting more intense and more intense and more intense, expressly so that we can heal, expressly so that we can shine our light so that we can bring the light back to the planet, so that we can heal the planet, so that we can be the ones that we're waiting for. It's true in the macrocosm, it's true in the microcosm, and we do have an obligation at this point. What I invite you to do today, over the next couple of days, is, are there places in you that are tense or braced or feeling sort of resistant? And are, if there are places, is there something you can do to breathe into that space, to allow things to unfurl, to honor your body and say it is safe to relax. It is okay. Regardless of what you feel or what you're doing or where you're feeling. Good morning, Carl. Thank you for watching. Is it safe for you to relax? And if it isn't, then find a healer. Find me. I love doing healings. So work with me. Work with Sue. Work with there's a million healers. But do the work. Put the time in. Especially if you're not in crisis. Especially if you're just like low level, going through the motions every day, feeling okay, doing it right. That's the time to do the healing. I mean, when you're in crisis, absolutely, right? You need to come back to reset, right? But like when you go from pretty good to wow, that's a fantastic leap. I'm all over the media. I'm sure you've seen it, but the Chakras of Happiness class starts in October. This is a profound way to do some deep work and some healing. And you don't have to have a knowledge of chakras to start with. In fact, it's kind of, I don't know, it's better if you don't, but we're going to teach you chakras. We're going to teach you chakras in a way maybe that you haven't heard of before. And it's a pretty awesome dive into what is your first chakra? What are your rules? What were the rules that you had to play by in your first chakra? As a woman, as a person, as a human in the world that maybe didn't recognize who you were as amazing. We'll spend 6 weeks in that. And then we'll spend 6 weeks in second chakra. What are the rules around sexuality and sensuality and emotions and passions? What are the rules that you were supposed to play by? What were the rules in your third chakra around will and self-esteem and action and anger? And we spend 4 to 6 weeks in each chakra doing this with a tribe of beautiful, amazing women who are also doing the same work and who see you and who love you and who cherish you. This is powerful work that we do. So please, please, please check out the Chakras of Happiness class. But in the meantime, I have 4 weeks to Fierce Happiness, which is a healing and a coaching session twice a week at a really accessible price point. I always have one-on-one healings with me. I have coaching packages. I have a couple of openings right now for one-on-one coaching where it's either coaching or healing once a week for at least 12 weeks. I actually prefer 24 weeks and even sometimes 36 or 52 weeks. But it's like a constant reset. It is a constant energetic balancing, energetic fluff, right? Whether we go from talking you off a cliff to just really just like, oh, it's totally okay, or it's totally okay, and we take you to like this, like, oh my God, the world is amazing and I can't wait to create these things. That's the energy that you have available to you, and my job is to help you unlock it. So there's a million ways for you to work with me. There's a billion healers out. I mean, obviously I think you should work with me, but if it's not me, let me help you find the person who is you. But it's time to start doing our work. It's time to start healing. Angela, thank you for joining me. I agree. That's kind of all I got today. I will be back talking about this integration that I'm going to learn. I don't know when, but I hope you have a wonderful Monday, and I love you all. Have a good one.